What is framework and why do we need it? Wherever you go, people will ask you, have you developed any framework? But what is the need of a framework? So obviously is that framework makes creation and maintenance of a script easy. Okay, absolutely correct. Coding standards. Absolutely correct. It has a bunch of everything we need. Set of libraries, reporting, everything. Okay. So first of all, guys, framework is not a hard and fast rules which you need to follow. Framework is just a standard or some guidelines which you follow to make or to absolutely correct set of guidelines to make it reusable, portable, scalable, maintainable, etc. So actually this is where framework comes into the picture, that whatever the scripts you are writing, you don't need to write it again and again, so it will make it reusable. It will make it portable, that you write it on Windows, you can write on any other operating system. It will make it scalable so that you write it, you create it for this version, and of course if there is a new version comes in, there is no impact on your framework, and it is maintainable. So you can easily maintain it. Whenever there is a change required, you can go and make the change, and that's it. Okay, so that's the best part. These are the things, these are the few important points of the framework. Let's see what it says. Why do you need a framework for medium to large automation projects? When there are large and complex applications, when there is a need of compatibility across browsers and platforms, in case there is agile development with shorter release cycle, when there is a need for multiple technologies and dynamic asynchronous application, in case of shorter testing cycles against growing suit re-release. So of course, you understand that when we have automation test cases, it will always grow. It will always keep on increasing, like a regression pack. The regression pack keeps on increasing with the number of test cases, correct? In the same way, our automation pack will always be increased. So in that case, we have to maintain them. And that's where framework comes into the picture. Target should be able to create automation test suite once and use them forever. Many automation projects don't last more than a few releases. Automation projects should work across browsers and platforms application supports. Okay, so you say today Chrome, it will run in Chrome. If you say Internet Explorer, it will run Internet Explorer. Wherever you want to run it, it will run. Be reusable and easy to maintain. Designed to adapt to changes very quickly. Like we discussed about page object model, if there is any change happen, we can make that change very easily and very quickly. Support execution in autopilot mode with minimum human support. That means if you schedule it, in the night at 3 a.m., it will execute and share the result instead of human intervention. Supports parallel execution over multiple machines, VMs, and on cloud. So if you want, you can run those execution parallelly on multiple machines. Frameworks are helpful as they enable structured automation. So everything, your complete project is structured, and it will be easy for you to understand it. Enable collaborative development, so that collaborative development means you may be developing the utility, one person developing the test cases, one person is creating the page classes. So that's how you are dividing the things, and at the last you combine all of them and done. Improve reusability and maintainability. Provide affecting test result reporting. So of course in testing we are getting the test result reporting, so that's what we'll be going to use. A good framework helps improve quality and speed of generating automation test scripts. So if you have a good framework, you can create your test scripts very easily, very easily, and in a short span of time. So we do have multiple type of frameworks, to be precise. These are not only 4, we have more type of frameworks as well, but people are mostly aware of these type of frameworks only. If you go to the industry, 90 to 99% of the people are aware of these four framework types only. And those are modular driven framework, data driven framework, keyword driven framework, and hybrid driven framework. These are the four type of frameworks what we have listed in this slide. Every framework has its own way or has its own functionality, has its own architecture, I would say, and it's up to us that which one we are going to work on. It's up to us on deciding that which one is beneficial for our project. So we'll be discussing about each framework one by one. Okay. Of course, we will not be developing all the frameworks. Okay, but we'll be discussing about it one by one. Here we go. So what is Modular Automation Framework? It is the most basic framework. Modular Automation Framework provides business functionality abstraction, as each business functionality or module is handled independently. Its scripts are mapped to modules. End-to-end test cases call these modules to integrate scripts. So what will happen here is, you have created one script which is going to do the sign-in, as well as going to front office, as well as going to mod office, as well as to the back office, etc. Your script 2 is going to mod, back office, utility. Script 2 is going to back office, utility, billing. So every script is not reusing things, or I would say is repeating things again and again, the same things again and again, which is not good actually. Like we write the scripts, okay? We write the script if we use some external module as well and run it, we will call it as Modular Automation Framework. Okay, where we have created modules that this is for login, this is for sign in, and this is for that, and done. So to be precise, I have never seen people using Modular Automation Framework. Never in my career. Okay. In while giving my corporate trainings as well, I have never seen people using Modular Automation Framework because it's of no use actually. It'll only increase the complexity of the framework. That's it. What are the advantages? Easier maintenance, better stability, faster script creation. When Modular Automation Framework is used with data-driven framework, effectiveness improves. Of course, when you are driving the data from external source, data-driven means you are driving the data from some external source, means you are using the test data from an Excel sheet, from a database, from a property file, from a notepad, or from any external file. That's what we call it as data-driven testing. So in this, it says that the benefits are it is easy to maintain, faster test script creation time, better scalability. But to be precise, when we have a good automation framework developed, you will see that in the future slides. When we have a good script, framework developed, you can create scripts in a few minutes. In a few minutes, you can create your scripts, and that's why I'm not going, inside this modular automation framework in detail. But yes, if I talk about data-driven framework, it used a lot earlier. Now people are using this framework with the page object model a lot. So earlier it was used a lot. Now people are using it with page object model a lot. Okay, so I'll not say that the usage is decreased. It started decreasing, but page object model comes into the picture and the usage of data-driven increased again. So let's go in data-driven framework. So from my perspective, from my experience, let me tell you when we used to use data-driven framework, when we used to create data-driven framework to be precise. When the project length is, project duration, I would say project duration is less than 3 to 6 months. We try to develop data-driven framework. Why? Because this data-driven framework, we can develop it in 2 to 3 days, and then we can start using it. And that's why it becomes very, very easy for us to create data-driven framework in every project. And that's what, of course, we'll be going to see that in our, in tomorrow's session, that creating the data-driven framework ourselves in that 2 to 3 hours. And driving data from an external source. So it can be MS Excel, it can be CSV, it can be database, it can be XML, it can be JSON, it can be anything. We're driving the data from an external sheet. The input expected results are read from an external source. Data is then passed to the test scripts for execution. Actual results versus expected results from external source can be verified. So we'll verify the data which is coming from the external sheet, whether they are correct or not, and accordingly we'll mark that particular test case as pass or fail. So actually, just only the difference is we will be driving data from an external source, and that's what data-driven framework is. Benefits: improved coverage and quality, focus on data before creation of test scripts. When data-driven framework is used along with modular keyword-driven frameworks, effectiveness increases. So of course, if I say with keyword-driven framework, this is what industry uses today. So let's first understand keyword-driven, and then we will go to hybrid-driven, and we will see combining data and keyword-driven, how it is actually helpful. So keyword-driven framework is an application-independent framework, uses data tables and keyword for actions. In this framework, test data and keywords are stored in an external. So when I say test data, of course you understand by test data, of course that's a test data, normally you are saving in an external file. But when I say keywords, what I mean to say here, you capture a screenshot. How do you capture it? You write 2 lines of code for capturing a screenshot. But we will create a keyword that is called as take screenshot. Or we will say we will give it a new name to it, capture screenshot. Wherever you will say capture screenshot with parameter like suppose file name, it will capture the screenshot and it will save it with the file name what you mention it in. This is one keyword for you now. Wherever you need to use it, you will just say, instead of mentioning those 2 lines of code, you will say takes a screenshot. In the same way, if you have let's say mouse over, so we'll say mouse over element over element, click element, and done. If you want to click, we will say click XPath, done. So we'll create a keyword for everything what you do inside your scripts. We'll create a keyword for that. We will we will create few keywords tomorrow in the class, and I'll show that to you that how we can create keywords and how we can use them as well. So we'll create keywords so that we don't need to write those long line of codes. We can simply use them, and that's what is keyword-driven framework. We put these keywords in a Excel sheet or any external source, and we create our test cases. And how do we create our test cases in that case? If we have those keys, coming to that, let me complete the hybrid-driven as well. Then I'll come and tell you the difference between these two. Just understand this, the keyword-driven, what I am going to create it. So we have created some keys, and here you say test case 1. Test step. What are the test steps? Open. This is my key. Navigate. Click. Verify. These are my keys. What parameter do they need? Suppose they need some parameters. Open. No parameter required. Navigate. Click on. Verify. Done. This is your test case. Test case 2. And this is how you will keep on writing your test cases inside an Excel sheet, and you don't need to go to your scripts, test scripts. You don't need to boot there. Okay, you don't need to go to your script, you don't need to go to your code, etc., because you have created your keys, you have created your actions, and what will happen when you will execute your framework, it will come to the first row, will pick whatever the step is, it will go and execute it, it will pick the second step, then it will pick the third step, then it will pick the fourth step, and done. It will mark it as pass, fail, or whatever. Then second test case, it will pick all the steps and mark it. Then third, then fourth, then fifth, and that's how your test case will be written in keyword-driven framework, mainly in an Excel sheet. Okay, so in keyword-driven framework, you create keys. In modular-driven, we don't create keys. Okay, we create modules. Modules means login is one module, registration is another module, forgot password is another module. Those modules, that's what we create in module driven, but we'll come to that again. So that's what we do in keyword driven framework. Keyword driven framework is we create it only if the project will be going about greater than 6 months, and it will take somewhere around 5 to 7 days to create it completely, and these people uses it. This is what I can say. So here we are saying keyword and actions. Here we are saying the test data. It will execute the driver script, which will create a result for you, and done. So this is the user-driven hierarchy that is mentioned here. But yes, this is how it works. I'm completely not sure about QC buddy here. I completely don't have any idea. Advantage of keyword framework: tester don't need an expertise in tester tools such as Selenium to create scripts. Saying that tester don't need to have an expertise because that is not required. You just need to open an Excel sheet and just need to mention the keys, and done. And here you also create an index actually where you mention that which key does what. So open key does this, navigate key does this. You create an index and mention this. And whenever there is a new joinee comes in, or there is a manual tester comes in, or a non-technical guy comes in, we tell him that this means this means this, and whenever you need to create a case, come to sheet 1, say here 2, and mention all your keys, and done. So what you need to tell them? You need to tell them the indexing, the keys, how to find locators, and that's it. He does not need to learn Selenium. He does not need to learn these IDs. He does not need to learn TestNG. He does not need to learn any build tool, any logging tool, anything. That's a benefit. For effective keyword-driven framework, develop an informed plan to create a keywords and reduce complexity. So in order to decide on the keys names, in order to decide what functionality will they do, in order to decide how we will be going to handle it if there is any error comes, that's why it takes them around 5 to 7 days to create it. Usually a mix of different frameworks is used to improve the overall benefit of automation frameworks. Of course, it is always suggested that mix 2 frameworks, 3 frameworks together so that you can take a benefit of automation framework. Hybrid driven. So hybrid, as the name suggests, it is a combination of any 2 frameworks. If we combine 2 frameworks, that's what we call it as hybrid driven framework. It integrates the advantage of all other frameworks. So you will combine any 2 frameworks, 3 frameworks, and that's what. It's flexible and does not bind with a fixed framework. So it is not bind with a fixed framework. You can combine again more frameworks and take a benefit of each framework. You can improve effectiveness by deciding the best combination of framework based on the context of automation. Avoid overdoing and using additional framework unnecessarily. Okay, so you can decide whether you want to use data driven with modular driven or data driven with keyword driven, which one is going to benefit you. And if you see that there is always a limitation with data driven, there is a limitation with keyword driven. With hyper driven, you can remove those limitations by combining the benefits of multiple frameworks.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.